Students from the University of the Philippines staging a walkout in protest at corruption in government. Some faculty members and activist groups joining in rallies denouncing budget cuts and infrastructure projects that have either stalled, are substandard, or in some instances do not even exist. Two inquiries are already implicating 2 senators and at least 17 members of the House of Representatives in kickbacks linked to flood control projects. But the Public Works Secretary has already resigned. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. forming an independent commission to investigate while withholding funding next year. For more, CNA's Bernal joining us live from Metro Manila. Bernal, of course, that walkout today in the University of the Philippines. There have also been protests online. The last few days, we've also seen protests in the Philippines. What's it like at these protest sites?
What we're seeing in these daily protests is really a wide-ranging series of demands, not limited to the end of state corruption. And these students, as you see there from the leading university of the country, University of the Philippines, even calling President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. a thief. The irony not lost on them that even as the president ordered this nationwide crackdown on corruption on state flood control projects that jump-started this public outrage, it is still the Marcos family or the heirs of his late father and namesake, the former President Ferdinand E. Marcos Sr., who remain to have one of the country's largest ill-gotten loot. One youth group even calling President Marcos the original Nepo baby, short form of nepotism and used as a derogative for children of powerful families who benefit from that power. Now, protesters are also concerned of possible collusion in state investigations. Only low-level public works officials in one province have been charged so far, despite a private contractor tagging multiple lawmakers as having connived with them to secure kickbacks in these state infrastructure projects.
If we just rely on the hearings in Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives, no one will be held accountable. That's why it is up to the people's resistance, the people's movement, to ensure that justice will be served. So the independent commission that's being established by the Marcos Jr. administration, we are maintaining a wait-and-see attitude.
That protester there asking for accountability and that justice be served. What shape would that take if that is the protesters' demands?
Given the wide-ranging demands, what you see here is really just a general public clamor for clean governance. It started with that online outrage over Nepo babies, their luxuries flaunted on social media, and some internet users connecting them as being children of these contractors linked to the anomalies. But what's more important here, really, in terms of these daily protests and mobilizations, is a clear pattern where we see these rights advocates riding on a clear momentum. We see them having more frequent mobilizations and having a higher media visibility because now there is a larger public clamor that they're riding on. And further indication of this are the multiple protests on Friday alone that were topical in nature, not just about corruption. You have a protest on budget deficits in state universities, another group protesting against rising energy costs, another one protesting against political dynasties. You even have one protesting against the increase in terminal fees in a Philippine airport. So clearly you see the Philippines rights movement riding on this momentum, that the outrage created by the revelation so far, including a revelation by the president doing a ocular inspection in one of the ghost flood control projects. On paper, nearly $1 million US. By inspection, it was not there at all.
A multi-pronged protest there, but the government quite reasonably trying to focus on the principal item on that list, which would be these kickbacks from flood control projects. Ferdinand Marcos Jr. already setting up an independent commission. What's next on this plan in terms of probing alleged corruption in government?
Of course, they have to name who will be part of this independent body. And already economist Cielo Magno, for example, urging that civil society should be represented in that independent body, arguing that this will prevent any connivance among the investigators. I also spoke with corruption studies researcher Cleo Kalimbahin, who is a professor at the De La Salle University, about this body. And she said that the representatives from civil society can actually be experts and specialists themselves in internal control, for example, accountants and auditors. But what we are expecting now is by September 21, we will see a larger series of protests because that will mark the 53rd anniversary of the declaration of martial law by the president's late father.
Oh, thanks. CNA's Bernard there reporting live from Metro Manila.